I need to send you a receipt, so email is mandatory. Yeah, exactly. Like, it was mandatory. I couldn't not leave the field empty. It didn't let me. So I was like, you know what, guys, I got plenty of time. I'll just wait till tomorrow and see what Ted has to say on what's the best way to pay. I want it to be fully on. I don't want to be on leaderboards, nothing. I want it to be fully... I don't want any of my name, nothing in any leaderboard. I saw like a leaderboard and everything. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that.
We're just talking about donating. Just gonna skip a little.
I hope Miles gets everything she is owed. Sorry, let me catch you up to date. We open a can of worms. It's one of those topics that will be impossible to not talk about when like the entire foundation that is the Western VTubing will be talking about this. I'll look like a fucking clown if I pretend nothing's going on, bro.
I don't know if you guys understand how disruptive it is. Like this is the end of an era. Like Vshojo was kind of like the bastion, or one of the bastion of like English VTubing. They were there when the VTuber boom started. They were one of the first to hop on that wave. We thought they were going to be there for many, many years to come. And now it's like we're learning that everything that we thought we knew about them, we've been fooled. It's like a collective heartbreak, it's a collective betrayal. Yeah, you were supposed to be the chosen one. It really is the end of an era, and a lot of people online are speculating that there's going to be a lot less trust in VTuber corpo. Some people are saying it's the end of the corpo era, which is kind of sad because I liked the corpos. I mean, maybe because it's kind of like when you watch, you like these shows that you used to watch in your childhood. Like, I just thought they were always part of the scene. I can't picture the VTuber scene without them. So it's just so disappointing, man. It's so disappointing.
Super long story short, Miles addressed some concerns often within Vshojo and how Vshojo
Mintic, you're right.
People large amounts of money.
It's the biggest catastrophe for EN VTubing. Yeah, absolutely.
Amongst those people being 500,000 that is owed to the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Immune. You know what I mean, sorry. They owe her directly to, yes, but we don't know what they owe to each other talent. We know for a fact they owe to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, yeah. Immuno. Yeah. So that literally fucking sucks. And also, I made a tweet opening up about them recruiting me in 2023. Let me just talk real quick about this, because I opened a can of worms. Nothing that I didn't expect. I absolutely did hope that, it would make a splash, because that splash in exchange will hopefully fund the engagement and help ultimately the donation link to the actual charity. So that was, calculated. If you can turn a shit situation into something helpful, I always will. But Vshojo reached out to me in 2023, asking me if I want to join. At the end, I think it was at the end. And I don't want to be too uneducated. I can just check. Hold up, before I say shit. I think it was the end of 2023. But I can check. I can literally just check. Here, this one. Okay, it was summer, so it was the second half of the year of 2023. And before I say anything, I've already seen some like weird ass drama schizos, some like neglected, freaking brain rotten people try and already drama the situation of like so nice of you to let other people run into the fucking fire. Vshojo doesn't send out fucking newsletters of people who are about to join to the entirety that is the VTubing scene. I don't fucking know who's joining, brother. On top of that, my contract that I called legal robbery, and I will stand by this.
Will be the end of corpo Vtubers in the US?
No, I don't think
so. At this point, I can't see Vtubers willing to take the risk anymore.
No,
also,
I don't
much
think
love
so.
To Mouse and all other
yes, much love to them. Anyway, I'm gonna pause stuff for now. Yeah, me teachers I'll talk about it. Pause. Don't waste your money.
Some people, the shit they say online is not just, I'm not sure if not just that they have any understanding of how business works, how NDA works. I just don't think they have any understanding of anything. I just don't think they've lived enough, or they have any experience, or they even step outside to understand how anything works.
But when a few of the talents walked out, a little while after they recruited people, I was amongst one of those people I tried to recruit. We got to the contract negotiation phase, which is where everything fell apart because I strongly disagreed with the contract.
Yeah, what do you mean? I thought I was quite the expert from my chair. I was born today. Yeah, true.
It was very greedy, very exploitative of my assets. And before I say anything more, again, those weird-ass schizo fucking, I don't know what the fuck's mentally wrong with them. Those non-medication having schizos on Twitter. Just because I disagree with a contract doesn't mean I have to go around the fucking world and literally commit slander, which, by the way, defamation is literally fucking illegal. And, like, go be a fucking drama frog. Just because I don't like a contract and it's robbing me doesn't...
Yeah, somebody in my Discord server was like, well, she didn't warn her friend. She still let her friend... She said the contract was bad, but she still let her friend sign up. And then, like, somebody else very rationally responded in my Discord saying, well, maybe she didn't feel comfortable giving other people, you know, financial advice and like advising them on which like professional course to take. And I'm like, yes, this is how normal people behave. You don't go around and fucking tell other people what to do. You're just there to support them. You can tell them your thoughts, but at the end of the day, it's up to them, especially big decisions like this.
Mean that A, other people are getting the same contract, and B, doesn't mean that other people disagree with it as much. They try to monetize my assets that I worked for. Like, I can also tell you right now, flipping burgers at McDonald's isn't the way to go, and people will still fucking apply. What does that say about anything? Everyone has a different level of sacrifice they're willing to commit to. That level of sacrifice was not something I was willing to commit to at all whatsoever. But everyone's different, bro. Everyone's fucking different. So let me go into more detail and explain what the frick is going on. When they reached out, I was very, very, very particular about what I want and what I have to offer and my worth. And when they reached out, the person who reached out, bless them, they are an absolute sweetheart. An absolute sweetheart. They promised the fucking world. They had this big-ass, long-ass meeting.
That's crazy. This is what Matara said too, that they promised the world.
And promised the world. Like this, they had this like massive PowerPoint. Hold up. 1 second.
Yeah, we went over that, Natso. Nabi, thank you for the Twitch resub.
I can't check how long, but it's very long. We had this super long call. It doesn't say how long, but we had this super massive long call of like everything they offer, which was all the way from, you know, legal advice, shows. It was just a whole lot of stuff. Shylilly's receipts girl wrote, nah, I'm not gonna dox everyone who was in the call at that time. But I do need a mental refresher real quick. Hold up. Let me mute everything. Okay. Let's see.
I'm speeding it up.
They had this like beautifully crafted thing of like how Vshojo operates, first of all, how they're true to their values, the tech team, and all the strong finances. They had, they were showcasing all the events they can do for me, online, offline, organization-based projects like product management, third-party support.
So earlier in the stream, somebody was asking what does Vshojo do offer. I suppose this is what they claim to offer.
Online events such as debuts, coordinating with contractors, hype and marketing, media assets and whatnot. They have case studies on all the things they have been doing, such as the Minecraft server and what they're doing for that, IRL stuff and VIRL stuff, backpacking and whatnot.
Yes, that was one of their main appeal was that they have the whole like VIRL stuff, the backpacks, you know, like how people go to conventions and there's like the little robots going with the VTuber iPads. They were really selling themselves on that point.
Challenge, they did this for what debut events they have been doing, what concerts, birthday concerts, offline events, online events, all the highlight videos they have for those online events. Consultations, international relationship industry, public relations, finance, security, DMCA takedowns, copyright, escalation systems, interviews, blah, blah, blah.
It's a lot.
PR management, interviews, takedowns with like all kinds of teams.
Did they actually say Minecraft server? That's funny.
They work with, helping with commissioning, games, collabs, blah blah blah, support in voice acting, scheduling support, even lessons for like other stuff, mental health and therapy, merchandise, merch production. And then we got to the point, and that was all beautiful. That was where everything.
The dichotomy between how cute that avatar is and how hard she goes off is throwing me for a loop. I know!
This is where everything is like, holy shit, this is insane. Also, just as a context reminder, when Vshojo opened their applications,
but then you're like, hold on, how are they gonna pay for all of this?
way before that, I applied. And actually made it past the first wave. And then never heard anything back, ever. Never ever. So, needlessly to say, it was, first of all, it was my long-lived dream to join Hololive. But they didn't want me, or rather, never looked at my application or anything. This is before I debuted, by the way. This is a long time ago. I wanted to join Hololive. Never heard back from them, or anything like it. So, when I saw that the Vshojo girls had so much fun, and they were such a tight-knit group, and like collabs and hangouts, and they looked like the most beautiful people on planet to me. So I applied. Didn't make it very far. Made it like past the first or second. I don't remember. Past the first phase for sure. And then I just kind of got ghosted.
Yeah, yes, it's. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to look at the legal mindset, fast facts, but it is probably illegal. Apparently in California, like the charity fraud. Yes, it is illegal.
Like beautiful. I was like, whoa! Like my heart was like, I really wanted to be part of those girls. Like it was just perfection, you know. I was like, dude, I fit right in. And yeah. Then far later, eventually at some point, they reached out at the almost peak of my career, and they were trying to hire me. So they were giving me this whole presentation of what they can do for me, which was great and all. But then we came to a list of things that are very important to me. I can run down the list super quick. It should be easy to find. I don't have the list saved anyway, but I know who I send it to. So if you give me a hot moment, I can find the list. Bit later. So I have a list of like non-negotiable values. I absolutely, entirely, without a doubt, non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. Okay, this is a big ass list.
I like this
I
part.
also noted some red flags that I noticed right away. But keep in mind, those are when I at this stage of the contract, when I call them red flags, it is more so. I've been dealing with contracts for a while at this point in my career. Lots of contracts are, I hate this word so much, standard contracts. So things you can negotiate. You can negotiate, right? My biggest contract was the revenue share. I did not like how their revenue splits with merchandise and similar things. I'm not gonna go through the whole list like in detail. It is.
I took notes of this. Do you guys want me to read the notes? But I feel like it's more interesting to just hear her say it and hear it from her own mouth. But like the important stuff was really huge revenue share. Money wasn't worth it. It was insulting. 50-50 splits that they kept calling the industry standards. I will just watch the video. We might as well.
Literally like a 2-page fucking doc, bro. But they wanted too much revenue share. Way too much. Like, that was absolutely not it. And the money they offered me in exchange for taking this much of my revenue was just not even... That was
It's weird because it's like, they take a revenue cut, but what they give, they take a revenue cut, but they give you a stipend, it seems. It's such an odd structure.
An insult. It was an insult. The money they said they would provide me with each month for stuff like concerts, models, assets, commissions, whatever, it was an insult. With how much they take, it's an insult. I also didn't like how they kept calling 50-50 splits, that was a genuine red flag because they kept calling 50-50 splits, what was that word? Industry standard. Any corporate that hires you and always puts emphasis on industry standard, run. Run. First of all, 50-50 is not the industry standard.
No, it's not.
It is not.
It's not.
Absolutely not. No. It should be much closer to, you know, like some people get as low as 20%, 15 or 10. 50-50 is abysmal. Also, third-party deals was also the biggest red flag. They
but
wanted 5%.
On what, though? Like 50-50 on what?
On third-party deals. I wanted them to negotiate it down to 0. If you don't know what third-party deals are, third-party deals is stuff that they have...
I would never... She's totally right on that. I would never, ever give any percentage of a third-party deal. You know what that means? It means that, like... Okay, because she's with Mythic... kind of just like me, and Mythic gives us sponsors, but then she would also be with Vshojo, kind of like Giga. She was also in an agency, but she was also with Vshojo at one point. So let's say Mythic would get her a sponsor, then Vshojo and Mythic would take a certain percentage on it, and on top of that, Vshojo would also take a percentage. They wanted to take money off of that too, but they didn't do anything. There's no incentive. You never give money to agencies where they're not incentivized to earn that money for themselves. For me, it's like if you worked for it, you get it. If I worked for it, I get 100% of it. And if somebody else worked for it, then they're getting the cut, not you.
Nothing to do with it's me doing stuff, mine. If Mythic brings me an offer, they want 5% on top of Mythic's. Like what? Nah, so I was like, negotiate this down to 0. One thing that wasn't a red flag at first, I also told them, stay the fuck away from gamer subs. Stay the fuck away. Literally stay the fuck away. And at first they were like, sure, fair. But then they tried to be dodgy about it, and they were like, for the time being, yes. Until we renegotiate the contract, I was like, no, stay the fuck away. No renegotiation. And the excuse for this was, as part of Vshojo and part of the brand name, part of the income and opportunities that come my way are due to Vshojo in my name. And I said, no. All of these things are stuff I did myself. You don't touch it.
Yeah,
so,
it's like they're trying to take cut on stuff that she's already built prior to being in Vshojo, and they want to take from it retroactively. It's weird.
Biggest red flags were, one of them was they refused to go down to 0% third-party deal fees. Again,
Silver
third-party means
tweeted?
Mythic gets me a sponsor, and Vshojo isn't touching it. I get myself something, I don't want Vshojo to fucking touch it. And they couldn't let go of that. They just couldn't. I said, if you have involvement, if you're involved in any of these and help out, you can have maximum 5%.
Okay, she just said, my heart goes out to all the communities affected by this recent news. I know that it's surprising and heart-wrenching for a lot of people. There's a lot of wish I could say, but I signed a pretty aggressive NDA. They made my mom sign one too. What? All I can say is that it's been bad for a long time, and I warned everyone as much as I could. It was so much worse than you could imagine. The VTubers make the agency, not the other way around. To take advantage of those who trusted you is vile. Never derive your value from an agency. Believe in yourself and your content because you're worth so much more than you can imagine. What the fuck, dude?
Based on involvement. But if there's no involvement, it's 0, and they refused. Another, probably the by far biggest red flag. I say this now, but maybe later on, we'll get a minute of something else. The by far biggest red flag, the two, sorry, that kind of intertwine. The by far biggest red flag was, I asked them to sign a non-compete based on gut feeling and hunches I may have had from rumors that have made their rounds. I asked them to sign a non-compete between them and Mythic. Let me explain what this means. A non-compete means that if Mythic gives me sponsors. So what Mythic is, so Mythic Talents, I'm part of Mythic Talents, which is the same as UTA in other places. They give you sponsors. Vshojo's talents have also been part of mostly UTA. Long story short, what they do is they read my inbox, they pass on the sponsors, they negotiate sponsors from me. They give me sponsors. I asked Vshojo to sign, to add or sign a non-compete clause in the contract. What are sponsors? It's when a game pays you to play the game. So I was like, sign a non-compete, because if Mythic gives me a sponsor, let's just keep math really simple, right? If Mythic gives me a sponsor and says they'll pay you $100 if you play this game for an hour, I don't want Vshojo to be legally able to go behind my back and contact the sponsor and say, she'll do it for 80. Just so Vshojo...
Oh, like undercut them, I see. Okay, I see your point.
Will then give the sponsor to me and they will be able to take the cut. I want them to sign a non-compete, so I can't do that. So Vshojo can't go to the sponsor and be like, no, she'll do it for this much, just so they can give me the sponsor and they get their cut. I don't want that. Mythic got me the sponsor first. I wanted a non-compete that you can't fuck over me and or Mythic. I want a non-compete. Very standard thing. Very standard thing.
Oh, Neander's talking about it too? All right. Well, some of the videos, I guess we'll have to move them to tomorrow. It's too much.
They didn't want to sign that. They said, when I brought this up, I have proof of everything, by the way, and before anyone tries to pull some weird sneaky shit.
Her lawyers is so good, because I feel like my lawyer would say the exact same things on most of these points.
Or we should try some weird sneaky shit. I have proof of everything. I have proof of everything. Okay? Everything. The whole 2 hours of the first one and whatever of the next following meetings. I prove everything. Anyways, I got all the receipts. Hours of receipts. Anyways, they then tried to argue when I asked about the non-compete. They were like, hey, we operate on a trust basis. And I was like, don't give a shit. Don't care.
This is the best part. Dude, I can't believe they told her we operate on a trust basis. Fuck you. If you were operating on a trust basis, you wouldn't be making me sign this fucking contract. And what's the contract about? No. Everything that you want, when you get into... There, not a single letter should not be put in the contract. If you want something, it's got to be put in black and white. That's the only thing. At the end of the day, it's the only thing that's going to save you. That's the only thing that gives you any leverage at all. Dude, fuck your trust basis bullshit. What are we going to do? Like, write this on a napkin? No.
It's a contract. There is no trust in a contract.
Yeah,
there is no trust basis. I know people like that.
Yeah, there is no trust in a contract. That's true. And it's kind of like, this is a recurring thing that we're hearing when we hear people talk about Vshojo. It feels like they really like mixing business and friendship together. Oh, we're just one big family here. Trust us. And then they're guilt tripping Iron Mouse into staying. They're guilt tripping Michi. Like, they gotta separate the two a little bit and remain professional.
There's no trust. There is no we don't operate on jack shit except for the black on fucking white on this fucking contract. Trust basis. The second red flag was in this beautiful first interview where the very beautiful person in the very beginning, they presented everything of what Vshojo can and will do for me straight up, because the contract had none of that in there. Not one thing, except for the parts they want money off, not one of those things was part of it. The only thing part of it was the money they offer me a year and something else. I forgot about what it was, but there were two things. But there was just, again, transactional money things that they had to put in there. So not one thing that they offer me as a service was in there. So I simply asked, put them in a contract. Everything you offer, put it in a contract.
Yes.
Needlessly to say, that part never happened. And that is literally making a deal with the fucking devil, because if all of these things are things you promise, there is absolutely no reason to not have them in a contract.
Yes, that's true.
These are things you promise. You swore. That's your whole selling point. But when I ask you to put it on paper in the contract that you want me to sign, you refuse. No. The only thing, apart from all the negative, the only thing that was positive in this whole thing was when I asked Vshojo if I can reach out to the other talents, because they're trying to hire me. They're trying to make me sign with the company. I said, I want to reach out to the other girls and make sure they want me there. First of all, I want to make sure they're aware I'm being recruited. Second of all, I want to make sure they want me there, because one part of my list of demands was I refuse to do fake shit. I want that the girls want me there. And they did not tell me to not do that. So that was the only thing that I can be like, okay, cool. That's the only thing where they were like, you may reach out to the other parts of Vshojo. Okay, cool. So that was the only good thing that was part of the contract or contract negotiation. They were fine with me reaching out to the other girls. And I did. Yeah. And I did. And after all that, I decided to not join. I decided if they can't put what I want in there, no. And the reason I call this legal robbery is, again, now that we have a bit more contact. Also, they wanted me to have quality payouts. I suggested that's bad.
See,
I don't want that. It makes it difficult to...
That's one part I didn't understand. What is a quality payout? That's the first time I wrote it down with a question mark. I was like, what's a quality payout? I've never heard this term before.
To track stuff, and human error can persist during these. I don't want that. Which, that isn't necessarily the biggest red flag. It's just like, it leaves room for error that can be left unaccounted, because it's difficult to keep track of these things.
It's a severance package?
Yeah, I noted down that there's nothing malicious with this, but if they take longer than 4 months to get a sponsor page to show up in the books, nothing malicious, but at least room for unnoticed error, because who the heck keeps track of every sponsor payout from over 4 months ago? We negotiated this to be closer to the industry standard payout lengths. Yeah. Yeah,
so she didn't like that the sponsor payouts had a 4-month delay. Bro, I was once in an agency that had a 4-month delay, and it's so true what she's saying. You don't keep track of your pays anymore, and you don't keep track, but the accountant isn't keeping track. And there was a lot of pays that would get slipped through the crack that I just never received. I was responsible back then. So yeah, she also believes that there's too much room for human error here, not necessarily malicious, but she wanted to renegotiate that so the sponsors payout would be faster. But usually that's something agencies do when they have really bad cash flow. And it kind of, like with what we're learning about Vshojo now, this kind of makes sense.
I also wanted to negotiate that any concept they help with, any lore, whatever the fuck, is 100% owned by Vshojo. I wanted to negotiate the splits on projects that Vshojo is only a partial owner of these things. It's all belonging to me. They don't own any of this. They wanted 100% ownership of everything they help. I didn't like that. What else? I also wanted to argue that Vshojo cannot take down whatever they want. If I make a tweet and Vshojo doesn't like it, they have the right to ask me to take it down. I have
I'm surprised that they can ask talents to take it down. They can ask. I'm surprised that they can force you to take down stuff, because a lot of people were complaining at Vshojo that there was too much talent freedom. No, wasn't that the thing when Kason made that tweet about fruit, or was it? Or am I getting it wrong? No, she made the tweet and then she removed it. So I guess she was. Maybe people told her to take it down. Yeah, maybe actually.
I believe it was 1 week, but I'm not sure. But I wanted them to have a clause in the contract that basically makes it, you can ask me to take it down, but you can't force me. So if I don't want to take it down, you simply have to get rid of my contract. I don't like how they can force me to take something down, and I have to comply within, I think it was a week. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I have to actually check the actual contract. This is just my personal notes I'm looking through. But I didn't like that, so I wanted them to add that. I want to make sure they can't abuse this. So I wanted to negotiate the stuff that if I have a week to comply, and if I refuse to take it down, they can terminate my contract instead. That's what I wanted to do. I also wanted an editing team for YouTube relevance, because they promise marketing and all kinds of other things. So I said I want an editing team, and I want a base amount of things they do for YouTube, and I want to make sure they have a minimum effort a week that they have to reach for YouTube exposure and YouTube stuff. They didn't want to do that either. The no conflict of interest negotiation, the do not compete, hasn't been signed. There was no termination clause in the contract at all whatsoever, which means that I would have to go the full 2 years. I wanted them. Let me just check.
Wait, what? There was no termination clause, so she'd had to go the full 2 years. That's not very standard. That's not standard at all.
Yeah, I wanted so that when the contract renews, they have to inform me, and if I don't provide my signature for...
I mean, maybe if they do like if they invest a significant sum in you, maybe it makes sense that you have to complete the entire 2 years. But usually there is like a clause that you can get out, and there's some time. It differs from agency to agency. Sometimes it's 30 days, sometimes it's more.
The contract renewal, the contract doesn't renew. I want them to terminate the contract if I don't renew.
Now people are like the current talents are leaving now, so maybe it's a minimum of 2 years, and you can leave whenever. I don't know.
And I also
the other talents just left.
The exit clause. I mainly wrote this.
Yeah, that's where I'm at in my reasoning. I'm like, the other talents just left, so maybe it is an older contract. We like thought about the same thing.
Down. Sorry, I have to catch up on like my notes. And wrote this down because all of the things they offer, if they do not offer them, again, everything they promised, if they end up not fulfilling their end of the contract, I basically have my exit clause. So I don't even necessarily need them to have an exit clause, but I need them to have those things in there, because if they don't comply, I can dip. That's another reason as to why I want those things in there, because...
Well, maybe they can leave because, the contract has been breached by Vshojo first. I don't know.
That basically becomes my exit clause. If I, for example, tell them, hey, if I have a problem with this, you have to help me. Hey, do not compete. Hey, do not do this, and this. And they don't do those things, I can leave. We successfully negotiated, just to also have some positive things, we successfully negotiated security and safety issues. We successfully negotiated project management, such as...
Dude, it's so sad. Amalie, like, fucking negotiated for a year. She joined Vshojo for a couple of months now. This happened. She already has to leave.
VTuber animes, game shows, 3D shows, D&D streams, 3D space technical expansion, and stuff like this. We successfully negotiated terms on operational marketing and everything tied to it. And I said that I negotiated this because Vshojo had the presentation when recruiting me for the first time, stating a bunch of services they promised to provide, to sell, the idea of Vshojo, but none of them are part of the contract, so we listed the most important ones in the contract to reflect that. But they didn't want to add all of these things in there. They said they would add them in there, but in the actual negotiation with the actual contract, it still ended up not being in there, so only partially. The payouts, wasn't a red flag, it was just questionable because I wanted to be more industry standard based. Let me just see. Sorry, this is a long note. Oh yeah, that was one thing that we agreed on because there was a clause in the contract that they own all my material basically indefinitely, which sounds fucked up. But their reasoning, and I understand, is if I'm part of Vshojo and they have a music video of mine up, for example, and I terminate my contract, they would have to take it down too because I no longer own my IP because I own my own IP. But I think successfully, in my notes, it's marked as successful, but the problem is those notes are before we negotiated the contract on paper. This were verbal negotiations where they just said like, yeah, too. But I basically said that stuff that I created and uploaded while being part of Vshojo can stay up, but you don't own any of my whatever forever. So I wanted this clause to be more specific in the contract that I understand what they
That's a good way to meet in the middle, especially since they had like a decent explanation for it.
try to do. They don't want to get fucked over by parents leaving and then having to delete their existence from everything, all the merch, all the videos, all the music stuff ever created, all the concerts, all the commentary, all the everything ever created. They can't go through all of this every time a talent leaves and delete everything. But I wanted them to reflect that this will only ever reflect stuff that is created as part of Vshojo. Nothing before, nothing after, nothing following. I don't have a business degree. I just have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lawyer who may or may not have dealt with contracts of a... It may have been suspiciously enough a very similar contract.
Yeah.
So this wasn't the first rodeo. I just have a great...
Wink, wink. It may have been a suspiciously similar contract. So I guess her lawyer is probably very used to reading VTuber or talents contracts.
Great, amazing lawyer. I love him so much. But yeah, and then I asked him to knock all of the third-party stuff out of her contract, which in my notes I marked as resolved and successfully negotiated. But again, once we actually did get to the contracting phase with their lawyer, who was very unprofessional, by the way, because she was constantly just zoning out. She constantly didn't know where the fuck we were. Every time we needed her to reply to something, she was always doing like the, can you repeat that for me? Can we go over this again? I'm like, bitch, you ain't paying attention. Holy shit, you're not paying any attention. You're literally zoned the fuck out anyways. That was just frustrating because I was like, you're supposed to be my lawyer when I'm joining? Ugh! I also didn't like her condescending tone whenever she spoke about...
In-house lawyers are usually a little slower on the turnarounds and stuff. It's kind of just always like that because they just handle all of the company's legal stuff, and it can be legal advice too, not just contracts. Meanwhile, lawyers that are like courtroom lawyers, it's like when they ask you a question, you got to respond right away. Like, you're not going to wait 24 hours for a response because it's happening now. You need the answers now.
Industry standards and making me and my lawyer feel like the people who don't know what we're talking about when we are the actual golden standard of industry standards. We did not ask in anything something that isn't industry standard. I just was so excited to join the girls, and we literally only did everything super industry standard. But they're the ones who always claim that all of their cuts and everything is industry standard. Also, another thing with everything that's bad, I would like to note, Vshojo does not take a cut of your Twitch dashboard. At least that's what I've been assured. All of the cuts they take is money from sponsors, third-party deals, merch, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, as a year-long successful indie, I wanted them to stay away from all third-party shit they have nothing to do with, and they just couldn't comply with that. So, yeah. And now to the people who still go like, why didn't you avoid it? Shut the fuck up, bro. If you have nothing to lose, if you have nothing, and they want something of everything, they ain't getting shit anyways. For someone who has nothing, this contract isn't even that exploitatory. It still has some icky stuff in there, but like, if you've got nothing, you can use this as an opportunity to grow yourself into something.
Yeah, basically she's making a point here that if you're a VTuber that is starting up, this is great for you. But if you're somebody that's already has built a lot of things, an audience, and has a lot of material, and they kind of try to take a cut off of that, it's not really worth it.
Over the next 2 years. You can use it as an opportunity to grow still. It's not bad for everyone, but it is absolute daylight robbery for people who are independent. Yes. When did I ask? 2023 second half during summer-ish. Yeah. Like that deal is entire. Keep in mind that contract.
Yeah, that is true. But they don't go. They don't recruit new streamers. They're going after established streamers, like the Optimist said. Exactly.
Things they promise. They said they operate on trust.
You would think their contract would be adapted to that.
The entire first over 2 hours sit down with them of what they can offer, what Vshojo is, and how they can help a talent and their value to the talent. None of this was in the contract. Almost none. There were 2 things that were. But those things, it's mostly because I have to, because it's, once again, about their assets. I want to make sure I don't get more assets than I can ask for. So that's probably why it's in there. So none of that was in the contract. That says a lot. So yeah, also to other people who say that the contract is the best they've ever gotten, doesn't have to be wrong. It doesn't have to be wrong. Also, some people don't have such an amazing lawyer as I have. Some people may look at the contract considering the PowerPoint presentation they have probably also received in the beginning. And they are like, this is fantastic, without realizing that this entire presentation doesn't exist in the actual contract. And some people even have a fucking lawyer. They only look at the PowerPoint and they're like, this is amazing. Plus, who is to say they all got the same contract? Yeah. Plus, who is to say...
We work based on trust, am I right?
I didn't help anyone else. The lawyer that I pay for, remember, my lawyer, the lawyer I pay for, I gave all of those notes for free to everyone, including my personal notes and all of the red lines, to everyone who asked.
Okay.
Because I didn't make me sign an NDA. Nothing, they made me sign nothing that doesn't give me the right to do so. So, and before you try and somehow, once again, go on some weird fucking hate train because you want to dick ride my fucking hate train so bad because you're so desperate to find something wrong with me, fuck you. Try always making shit up when there's nothing to make up about. If you don't know shit, maybe just shut your fucking mouth. I cannot fucking wait to have handstands all day long because this is the only fucking way I can explain so much shit's coming out the upper end. Holy fuck. Some people are so mentally goddamn deranged.
Dude, fools who are confident fools, I always ask myself, aren't you ashamed of yourself? You know, in French Canada, we have an expression that really can't be translated into any other language because it's kind of like full of slangs, and it's called garde-toi une petite gêne, meaning keep yourself a little shyness. It doesn't translate well. It doesn't translate well, but it's like, don't get comfortable too fast, buddy.
Making shit up about drama and how I hate people who join Vshojo because I didn't warn them. Like, what the fuck kind of schizo bullshit is that? Fuck. Brother, if they happy, they happy. You know how many friends I've actually actively warned to not do something and they went ahead and did it and I was just simply sitting there being happy for them? And then a year or two later when they're like, wah, wah, I'm simply there for them. I do hate them with a little bit of an I told you so, but mostly I'm there for them. I still poke fun at them, but I'm there for them. Sometimes you warn people like, hey, that girlfriend of yours is fucking toxic, don't do it, and they still date them. What do? You sit fucking through it like a good fucking friend that you all are.
Yeah, yeah.
You hit them with a little tiny, I fucking told you she a bitch, but then you're simply there for when times are rough. Done.
Yep.
That's just how some people learn. Some people don't want to listen. Or they believe in all of the bull.
And you don't say, I told you so, or I warned you so, because nobody wants to hear that in that moment. You could very well say it, and you'd be in the right to say it. But there are other things you could also say that are better placed there. It's called being gracious.
Bullshit, they're being fed down their throat of like all of the nice things. They also, a lot of people are very insecure and believe they can't make it without a corpo.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
It's a little fun at them.
Yeah, don't rub it in. Exactly. It only hurts the victims.
Just watch the fucking train wreck and just be there at the crash site. It's just how it is sometimes in life. Like, those fucking mentally deranged, absolute loser incels have to realize that if you've ever had friendships or values or any meaningful connections in your life, you would know that you can't always warn everyone. Some people will literally ignore your fucking warning and everything you know, and against your better judgment, they have to make your own decisions. And to be a good friend, you simply have to be there for them when everything comes crashing down. But
yeah, Parrot is like that. He doesn't care about any of my advice. He's like, Rima, I appreciate it, but I'm the kind of person that needs to hurt my head a bunch of times before I learn my lesson. So there's some people like that. They just, they'd rather just learn via making their own mistakes.
Wouldn't fucking know that because you've never formed a meaningful fucking relationship in your whole fucking life with your father walking out and your mom fucking neglecting your whole family, being basically no contract, and you're just being in a fucking basement talking about VTubers and trying to shit talk them based on nothing and no information. Anyways. Sorry, I had to be German for a second there. Those fucking Twitter skits, oh my god, literal brain rot, dude. They have like black mold in their head. And don't call me killer whale for fucking nothing.
I mean, it's just VTubers. Who cares?
Fucking same ass bullshit back down your throat. Holy fuck. Fucking Twitter trash. Ew, disgusting. No wonder you're so fucking miserable. No one wanted to even be in your fucking vicinity ever. Anyways, that was the kind of worms I opened yesterday, and I just wanted to put down the facts a little bit.
Yeah, advice and concerns are appreciated, but the brick wall calls for the bird, the green bird, the parrot.
Like, why it was such a red flag contract, how it was absolutely disgusting.
Oh yeah, I think
how I didn't like their final meeting with the.
All right, I think that's it. The part about the contract. Hey, you! Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and I'll see you in the next video.